So right now we're currently pulling out the old inlet pipe to the back of the water pump, and you can clearly see where that leak was. Let me just get the coolant out of this thing. So you can see this is the outside housing. The gasket is clipped and chipped, and even the housing itself is, you see that? It's supposed to be a nice solid lip around the whole thing. There is not on this thing. Kind of rusted and corroded. Well, this was 1997, so over 20 years, almost 25 years old. But look at that, it's all corroded and chipped away. I checked the housing, the inside of it for the water pump. That one looks totally good, so I think I'm ready to go ahead and put this thing in. So, like I said, they got the new O-ring gasket, and you can see on the new one that the lip is all the way there, and there's no chips, there's no nothing. That could have happened when someone's definitely been inside this engine before, and they could have replaced this part already, and they could have replaced it wrong. So, either way, we still have to replace it, and we're replacing it with a nice new OEM gasket. This was like $15 worth of gasket. It was crazy, but you know, you gotta pay to get the right stuff and the good stuff, and stuff won't break. And you can see this metal is a lot thicker gauge than the metal that they used on the original one, even though this is an OEM part. But I'm gonna go ahead and just take off the sticker and make sure it's all set to be put inside the car. There it is. Yeah, it's nice and tight inside of the housing. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting the bolts on and hooking up all of the hosing to the inlet, the pipe for the water pump, and go ahead and start putting this whole mess back together. And while I'm doing that, I'm putting on multiple coats onto the intake plenum with the red paint, and hopefully many layers will look nice. So while I'm doing this, I put layers on the thing, come back and do some more. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so now we have the new inlet pipe already installed and all the hoses hooked up. Now I'm going to install the new gaskets. So you can see that right here, the intake gaskets are not looking too good. I don't know how to go ahead and see if I can try to pull one off with one-handed while holding up this intake. Can I do it? Let's see if I can do it. There you go. Okay, so now we have that. Now we have this thing off. So yeah, this is the OEM gasket. It's coming apart because it's old. See, it comes in like two metal parts, and yeah, this is no good anymore. So I went ahead and ordered new gaskets, and here it is. This is the new gasket. You always want to make sure you look at it. Everything looked the same. So only things that are different are these little pull tabs, but these are usually made to help you pull the gasket up if it's stuck. Too, sometimes the heat can even just like make the gasket just completely seal to the engine, and this one just doesn't. This one has a different style of pull tab, but you can just look at the holes and all that, and you look at everything. If everything looks good and passes your eye test, and you go ahead and install the new one. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these new gaskets in. so I have all the bolts tightened down on the upper intake. Now it's time to go ahead and start hooking up all the hoses I have. And there's a lot of hoses, so I'm gonna go ahead and start hooking up all the hosing over here and make sure that is all set. And next part would be putting up the upper intake plenum, and I'll show you guys that later. Okay, so it's the next day now. I'm gonna apologize for the heaters because it's actually really cold today. I don't know, it's like maybe like 32 right now, and so I got the heaters on, so you guys can probably hear them in the background. But I have the intake plenum all set and all painted. Pretty much just red all the way around. I went ahead and taped up all the ports, and I went ahead and put on all the new sensors and the vacuum advance right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this inside of the 3000 GT. So I'll go ahead and cut to me throwing it on. Listen, man. And we're done, and everything's put back together. Everything's tightened, all the bolts are tightened, all the sensors and plugs and vacuum lines, and there's a lot of plugs and vacuum lines on this car. JDM cars are not fun to work on, but it is done. So you can see here, intake nicely painted, throttle cable, coil pack, intake, everything. So since we're fixing something on the coolant system, it's always good to fill the coolant system up to the top, which you guys can see here. It's filled to the top on the radiator cap, and we're gonna go ahead and turn the car on. Hopefully it turns on, who knows. We're gonna turn it on, and we're gonna let it run, and while we're running it, the water pump's gonna cycle the water through the engine, and it's gonna help bring any air bubbles that are trapped in the cooling system, because we have the cooling system open for a long time. So the bubbles will naturally rise to the top and escape the cooling system, because if you have bubbles in your cooling system, that is poor. I don't know, it's a poor system you have here, because water doesn't, you know, trap in air. And it's just not good to have air in your water system, just like your brakes. If you have air in your brakes won't work. So we're gonna let it run for a little bit, let all the air escape through the radiator cap, because I have the radiator cap off right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna let it run, let the bubbles kind of disperse, and then it should be all set. Okay, so it started up, battery was dead, so I just threw a jump pack on it. But you can see here, it might be really loud, but you can see that it's bubbling. The coolant's bubbling, so all of the water out of the lines are now gonna be escaping the lines, so I can have a proper cooling system. You can see it's still going. So I'm gonna do that until the car is fully warmed up, and then add coolant if it's missing any coolant, and then cap it off and take it for a quick test drive and see everything's all hunky-dory. So yeah, that's gonna end the video. It's unusual to being not a van video, but this car needed to work, and I was tired of putting it off. It was sitting here for a good month. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. So if you like it, go ahead and, I don't know, like, comment, subscribe. If you like this content, go ahead. And yeah, it's a good car, I like it. I'll do a full video on it one day, somewhere down the line when I find time and all that. But yeah, if you want, join the Discord. You know, everyone's in the Discord. Link down in the description of the YouTube video, and you know, all of our information's down there, and all the cool, you know, extras. So yeah, that's the end of the video. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. See you guys in the next video. Bye.